accommodate. And I would now like to give the floor to Madame Betancur for her concluding remarks. You have 8 minutes, Madam.
Buenos días.
Good afternoon, good morning, and thank you very much, Vice President. Before I begin, allow me to express my solidarity to the Venezuelan people following the devastating earthquakes this week.
The UN entities, national human rights institutions, civil society, mostly for their valuable contributions to this interactive dialogue, and obviously the core group for its continued support. And some key messages emerged clearly from our discussion. Permit me to group them. So first, I think we agree that prevention must be priority. It must be our priority, that conflict-related displacement is not inevitable. Many of you mentioned it. Prevention saves lives and reduces the immense human, social, and economic costs of displacement. So suffering can be prevented if parties to armed conflict fully respect their obligations under international law. And preventing means preserving pathways for peace, adopting laws on internal displacement, integrating IHL in peace processes, securing humanitarian commitments before the conflict erupts. And within this framework, the question on evacuations that we received, this must be last resort for compelling reasons, only to protect civilians, or for truly imperative military reasons, never for convenience or strategic gain. There should be temporary, and evacuees should be protected in transit and to their destination. Safe routes, humane transport, family unit, and full access to essential services should be ensured. Housing, land, and property left behind should be protected and ensured restitution or compensation. Evacuation should never be a tool for forced displacement, punishment, or demographic change. Second, today's displacement crises are increasingly complex. Armed conflict, organized crime, disasters, environmental degradation interact and reinforce one another. So our responses must therefore integrate and bridge humanitarian development, peace building, and climate action. Several states shared their challenges on this, including South Sudan, and I thank Mozambique as well for their intervention, acknowledging the complexity and the different driving factors, and I remain fully available to continue the recommendations of my country visit. Third, no state can address displacement alone. So we see this every day. The internally displaced people of today could be refugees of tomorrow, and returnees could also later be displaced. So we need stronger cooperation, including at regional level, shared responsibility and meaningful participation of the displaced communities and of civil society, and support for civil society. I call on donor states to commit to increase funding to advance this work. I commend Germany's support to Geneva Call and others, including China, which offers support to complementary initiatives to ensure compliance to all parties of conflict. Fourth, there is no single pathway to durable solutions. So I thank the different countries, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Colombia, and many others that shared their experiences. Durable solutions have to begin long before return. Respect for IHL reduces displacement, protects those affected, and creates the conditions for safe, voluntary, and dignified return, local integration, or settlement elsewhere. Durable solutions require restoring rights, as illustrated by Syria, by Honduras, by Colombia, and others, protecting housing, land, and property, preserving documentation, ensuring legal identity are essential to whatever solutions IDPs choose. In response to Cameroon, I commend the approach that benefits both internally displaced persons and host communities. Such inclusive approaches are essential to achieving solutions. And also, solutions require long-term investment and partnerships. So in response to the Marshall Islands, reconstruction also has to include environmental recovery. In response to Nigeria, stronger cooperation between the humanitarian, the development, the peace actors is key. So I welcome the progress highlighted by UNDP and others in name of the solutions champion, but much more is needed to align national solutions strategies with public investment. My next report to the General Assembly will examine how reconstruction can better advance durable solutions and the rights of internally displaced persons. I invite all of you to contribute to that report. And fifth, we need greater accountability for violations, including sexual and gender-based violence, as Norway reminded us. Impunity fuels recurrent cycles of abuse and displacement. So accountability starts at national level. No? States should strengthen domestic legal frameworks, investigate and prosecute displacement-related violations effectively, and ensure systematic IHL training for relevant actors. Accountability for sexual and gender-based violence must be survivor-centered, combining prevention, protection, and credible investigations. And this requires sustained support. And as Malaysia highlighted, I encourage states to engage with the ICRC's Global IHL initiative to strengthen that political commitment. And where national action is insufficient, international accountability matters. So in response to Indonesia, where displacement is used for territorial control, states should fully support international accountability mechanisms and adopt lawful measures. So finally, above all, our efforts must remain firmly grounded in international humanitarian law and international human rights law. It is not necessarily about creating new laws, as Ombudsperson from Colombia said, but about truly implementing the ones we have. Gaza, Lebanon, Sudan, Ukraine, and elsewhere. And as we pursue durable solutions, let us not lose sight of the need to prevent displacement and protect those who are displaced. As the Special Rapporteur, I remain available to provide technical assistance on legislation, on policy, on development, on capacity building and implementation of the recommendations contained in this report. And finally, I urge the international community to speak with one voice against violations of international humanitarian law. Accountability begins by calling violations what they are. Only then we can advance protection, justice, and durable solutions. Thank you.